And like I said, I resemble that remark. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We're talking a little bit about the student loan debt and what to do about it. Elizabeth Warren says it's time to forgive the student loan debt. Of course, that would be trillions and trillions of dollars passed on to the taxpayers. And when you're thinking about passing it on to the taxpayers with the Green New Deal, with everything else, you think to yourself, well, what's the limit? I mean, do we have just this magical tree? Do we have this magical money tree that we go to in the back and that we say to ourselves, yeah, this is good. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be exciting, and we could just pay for everything. You know, sometimes I think the devious little libs look at our economy, look at the U.S. Economy, look at the government as one big giant credit card. Do you remember when you first got your first credit card? Do you remember that? Remember the excitement? Maybe it was in college. Maybe if you're younger, maybe it was even in high school now. I mean, I think high school kids have credit cards like high school kids, middle school kids have phones. And you had that certain limit. Maybe it was $500. Maybe it was something else. And it was great because it was like free money. And then all of a sudden, what happened? You charged it up, and then something came at the end of the month. Maybe it was the beginning of the month. It was called a payment. And then you're going, oh, this isn't that fun. Well, the point I'm trying to make is what the liberals want to believe is that it's like the U.S. has one giant credit card with the new Green Deal, with the gas tax, with everything else. And they're just charging. We can't pay for that. And certainly when it comes to student loan debt. Thankfully, and we've been talking about him the last hour, his ears must have been burning because he came in here sprinting. Dave Petzo joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
I got a little scoop for you.
Oh, do you?
I was watching it on Channel 7 this morning, and somebody was mimicking you behind your back.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They were? No.
Your hand gestures.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Well, I'm watching your back.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike the people at Channel 7.
How could I see it? I can't see it.
Exactly. That's why you've got me watching you like you watch out for our money.
Gosh. Well,
Wasn't that a great intro?
That was great.
The best ever.
You're excited this morning, Kevin. I like it.
Dave Petzo is here to defend high gas prices. Now, in a month, they've risen over 50 cents a gallon.
I know. It's a big move.
And
oil, fortunately, seems to be topping out. So.
I don't want to lead the witness. I don't want to be accused of badgering Dave Petzo here. By the way, Dave Petzo, host of Money Matters, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. You can catch him on Twitter, Facebook, or every Saturdays from 8 to 10 right here. Your thoughts, sir?
Fortunately, oil is topping out. It has gone straight up, and I'm not sure why, Kevin. You know, you and I have talked about this incredible renaissance we've had in this country where we are now energy independent. And I'm not sure people fully appreciate how big a deal this is, where we're not just buying oil from people we don't like and sending money to countries that sponsor terrorism, things like that are very, very important that we're not doing. But on top of that, it has created such an amazing number of jobs. From, I think it was last week, you and I were talking about a barber making over $100,000 a year, truckers making over $100,000 a year.
That's in Texas.
And that's in
wherever
Idaho. There's jobs. That's good stuff, right? And so what I'm saying is that this just isn't just oil field jobs. It has such a huge ramification all the way around. And when you're building billion-dollar pipelines or billions of dollars worth of pipelines, as they are in this country now, it is an astounding jobs, if you will, economic boost. So the fact that we are there is such a big deal, but it also means we have a lot of oil in the world, a lot of energy, and that those prices seem to have been coming down. We got this spike that went straight up for the past few months, and I think it's a little toppy here.
Sure.
But again, I'm not an oil expert, but this doesn't make any sense. We've got plenty of supply.
Right.
Prices will come down, and they are.
Right. Well, they're not coming down, though.
Well, it takes time to get to the pump, Kevin. It took time for us to get caught up to how fast they went up.
It didn't take that long, if you're talking a month, raising the prices by 50 cents a gallon.
No, the oil's been going up for several months.
But 50 cents a gallon in a month
was ridiculous. It was like
that's
it
collusion.
Finally took off.
That's collusion. That's the Russians. That's collusion.
That's the Russians are hacking in and raising prices.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a brand new theory. I'm going to have to defer on that one.
All right. Dave Petzo joining us, Money Matters, KIDO Talk Radio. I've got another one for you.
Okay.
Amazon.
Yes.
So,
the Death Star.
By the way, you had a great weekend. You probably did something in the outdoors.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Golf.
Right.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm very happy for you in your golf game. I had a chance to catch up on what a lot of people would say is work, but for me, it's watching television. Like, for me, working is the people that are, framing houses or working on the roads. That's work, right?
Right.
That's work. So for me, it's a sorry excuse for work when I say I'm watching the television, but I am watching tape of the 5 town hall meetings on CNN. Coming away from it, I was very struck by 2 people that seemed very authentic, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Out of all the 5 that I watched, I'd have to say I watched about 40 minutes of all of them. Elizabeth Warren was probably the most sincere when she talks about Amazon. And her idea is to break up Amazon because Amazon, let's say Dave Petzo creates a line of Dave Petzo Hawaiian shirts. Mm-hmm. And Dave Petzo's Hawaiian shirts are blowing it up on Amazon. Now, according to Elizabeth Warren, Amazon will get an alert, bloop, 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 Petzo's Hawaiian shirts are blowing up. They will create their own similar like product, Amazon's Petzo's like shirt, Hawaiian shirt. They'll put it at the top, and Dave Petzo's Hawaiian shirt will be put back 16 pages. She says that's anti-competitive. She believes you can't be the referee and a player. Your thoughts, protector or champion of capitalism, Dave Petzo.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't agree with her very often, but there's something I do agree with her on, that the big tech companies, to some degree, need to be broken up. And the reason I say that with Amazon is this is just another reason, and I have to agree. It is anti-competitive. You can't decide like Google does, okay? And the same thing is that if Petzo Financial isn't paying Google some money, then it doesn't matter how many times quotes were mentioned in the press, we will not be number 1 or 2 or 3. Those are paid to be in that position. I don't mind when it says this is a paid ad and things like that, but the fact that they exclude things, and in all fairness to Google, they've gotten a lot better at this. But I agree with her comment that you can't be the referee and a player at the same time. It doesn't work. Now, but my biggest concern with Amazon is the fact that they have 2 distinctly different businesses. One is, as I call the Death Star, which is out there beating up and destroying many, many retail businesses, and that's fine. That's good. That's fine on its own. But if you're using money from another source to undercut prices, to sell price-losing things, that's the problem. And they make a ton of money, billions and billions and billions of dollars in their cloud services. I would simply say you just take those 2 businesses and separate them so that you can't take billions of profit from one area to undercut pricing in another and lose money. That's antitrust right there.
Let's see if we can continue on turning Dave Petzo liberal. By the way, you can join the conversation anytime at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Amazon paid no taxes.
Yeah,
Dave Petzo, did you pay taxes?
I paid taxes.
Right. The Petzo Center, did they pay taxes?
Quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah. We're in that very expensive downtown Boise area.
Well, you love it because the state of Idaho is not very business-friendly when it comes to how it treats businesses with taxes. Am I saying anything wrong?
No, you're not.
Okay.
I'm not happy about it.
So Petzo gets hit personally, professionally, the business gets hit, yet Amazon pays no taxes. They're the world's most profitable, biggest, most expensive, whatever you want to call it, the big enchilada.
They're close to it. Yeah, there's 3 companies up there. Yeah, but yes, let's call it the biggest enchilada.
Although Exxon might be there with the high.
No, they used to be, Kevin, but they're not even close anymore.
So here you have again.
Yep.
To folks, to some of us who have stains on their shirt already this morning, how in the world can a company that is so profitable, so ubiquitous, not pay any taxes, and there is no outrage?
Right. Well, two things. First of all, because they proclaim to be liberal and progressive thinkers, they get away with it in the press, right? As long as you agree with people, then you're not the bad guys, you're the good guys. So far they've been kind of the good guys. The second part of that, though, is that in fairness to all companies that employ people, they pay a lot. We pay a lot of tax. It's called payroll tax, and it really does matter, and all those employees pay taxes. So if you're out there creating a business and you are losing money, and Amazon has for a long, long time, then they do not have to pay taxes. You have to be profitable. So they are profitable on one side, Kevin, and that is the cloud service business. They are not profitable on the retail side, and that's my problem. You can't take money from one to feed the other when you're anti-competitive. Nothing wrong with feeding another one if you're not undercutting prices or losing money to sell goods.
Here's another story that is interesting, especially if you're going to be flying anytime soon. Apparently, Boeing waited until after the Lion Air crash to tell Southwest safety alert was turned off on the 737 MAX. What do you make of that?
We will wait and see. That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't
sound good. I'm not an aviation expert.
Well,
that
you fly more than most people.
Good. I don't think I fly that much, Kevin. But
well, are you on
the answer is that because you're a flyer doesn't mean that you understand an airplane.
More than I do. So that makes you the expert in the room.
In the room?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go with that.
And here's the other one. I mean, you've got the fast pass with the TSA, right?
I do.
Well, you, Warren Buffett, and all the big wigs.
Just a few of us.
So you are the expert when it comes to that.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so that makes me an aviation expert.
Comparatively speaking.
Let's
be fair. Comparatively speaking. Sir.
Okay. All right. The answer is it sounds bad. I don't know, and I hate to throw them under the bus because you're going to continue to hear one report after the other about how they did this or there was colluding on that. It doesn't make news to say that Boeing is doing everything they can to get these planes back in the air and make sure they're safe.
Yeah, but on the other hand, in fairness, sir, Boeing slow-rolled this. And Boeing hey, here's a new feature. You can look at it in your iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Half the pilots didn't do it. Now, with all due respect, I'm just going to give you the facts.
Okay.
And by the way, Boeing is very sacred to us because, as you know, Bill Boeing used to own KIDO Talk Radio.
Yes, that's right.
And he had to pick between radio and airplanes. I think he made a bad choice.
Right. Yes, a terrible choice they made.
So here we go. Boeing did not tell Southwest its largest 737 MAX. By the way, this is from CNBC and the Wall Street Journal.
Yep.
Trusted news sources?
They are.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
It's 737 MAX customer that a safety feature was turned off. You're asking what the safety feature was? It's an alert that lights up in the cockpit if a plane's angle of attack sensors transmit faulty data about the pitch of the plane's nose. Southwest did not know about the change until after the fatal Lion Air crash. The FAA even considered grounding Southwest's MAX fleet while they weighed whether or not the airline's pilots needed additional training about the safety alert, according to the Wall Street Journal. Your thoughts, Dave Petzo?
Fortunately, none of them crashed. That's a big deal to me. And the airplane has a reasonable record up till this point. And so I just don't know. I don't know, Kevin. I don't know what the structure is there. But to me, on the front, it doesn't sound good. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That somebody was out there just simply turning it off. And these are actual aviation experts. I'm just pretending to be one.
Comparatively speaking, you are the aviation expert in the room.
In the room. And it just doesn't look right to me, Kevin. It just totally doesn't sound right. It doesn't look right. And if I'm doing a lot of business, and Southwest does, with somebody, and they're in the business, you just don't make an arbitrary change like that without letting me know. I would be very angry.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. Maybe you are an aviation expert. By the way, here's another one, Dave Petzo. You follow the business. Southwest is having to deal with less planes.
Yes.
Getting ready for the busy season.
Exactly. No, it's a big money loss. And Boeing just, not last week, it was a week before they announced earnings. They're not giving forward guidance right now until they get through this, but they did say that they did write off $1 billion already because of the costs of this. That's going to be one of the costs. They are going to have to make their customers whole that have on planes that are grounded and losing revenue as it sits. So I'm quite sure that Boeing's losses won't just be the lawsuits from the deaths of the folks on those two airliners that went down. It's also going to be the complications you're talking about, and it is big money. It is a huge problem for them because now all of these, what do they fly? These Southwest planes go up and down, up and down, up and down, all 8-10 legs a day. So those are all missing, and all of those folks have to find other connections until they get those planes in the air again.
More coming up with Big Money Dave Petzo. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. All right, we continue on with Firing Line with Dave Petzo. Your calls, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Do you, I don't want to bogart the topics. Do you have anything? Because I've got a few more for you.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll let you back in, but I'm going to give you some of this right now, okay?
Right.
If I got the microphone, I'm going to talk. We've got 3.2% GDP growth. Unbelievable. Now, here's the point of that. 3.2% is way better than expected, but Kevin, literally 4 months ago, economists broadly, I'm not talking about just the handful of the wormy little ones that
Your
just
favorites.
always call for the end of the world. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about broader than that, talking about the fact that we were going to be near zero growth. 3% at this point in an economic cycle is unbelievable. Further, I want to add how wrong all of these folks were about the fact that the economy can only grow by 1 to 1.5%. That's just the way it is. That's all it is. And that's what the Obama administration said. All the way through, they sold us on this stuff. Instead of saying, if you get out there and you allow the animal spirits, get government out of the face of business, lower taxes, lower regulation, you watch this thing go. And everybody made fun of Trump's stuff, and I'm telling you what, this is exactly why it works. And it is amazing numbers. These are so different than what we were going to be dealing with just months ago. And those supposed experts never have to be held accountable. I mean, never held accountable. They'll be back next time just like, well, and now we expect this and this. And everybody will go, oh, the economist, Joe, whatever, now thinks the economy is going to do X. He's been wrong for a decade. We don't care. He's a hero to us. And it just goes on in this cycle. But it's really wrong, and it really twists people's perspective of what's going on in the economy, how to invest, why they should invest, and keep their money in the sidelines because they're scared of things that never happen. Quit listening to these idiot economists and listen to your what has been history of the markets all along. 10 years of a bull market, and many people have missed the entire thing sitting there in doom and gloom.
80%, 85% missed the bull market.
Yeah. Yep.
Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. We never want to be predictable here. So we've talked a little bit about gas prices. And by the way, throughout the week, every time people bring up gas prices, I tell them to listen to Dave Petzo. And, of course, we love Dave Petzo. Back to Amazon. Amazon is so proficient. I wrote a blog about killer robots that will fire you, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we're in Idaho. If you, on a good day, my wife, my mom, maybe Tea Party Bob reads a blog, that's like quadruple the circulation for the blogs that I write, right? So I write about this algorithm or something at Amazon. I can't even remember what it was about. So I get a letter from Amazon.
Really?
Saying, we don't fire people with automation, blah, blah, blah. Please include this statement in your article. That's how crazy they are, that they found out about this goofy blog that I wrote about killer robots working at Amazon.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow, Big Brother's here.
Exactly. It must be their algorithm. However, there have been several articles by the Washington Post, by the New York Times, trusted liberal progressive sources about the work conditions at Amazon places. Now, Amazon wants to disrupt the shipping industry. You seen the trucks around with the Amazon stuff?
I have. I know.
They are undercutting prices by a third. Is that good news, Dave Petzo?
No, it's certainly not for the truckers out there. It's terrible news. They are trying to make sure that they get a handle on delivery and can't be held, if you will, at gunshot to anybody. To deliver a package, to be in retail of any kind. They want to have multiple sources, including themselves. They want to control all the way through. I can't blame them. I'm not blaming them. But I'm saying that there are many things out there that are anti-competitive. One of them is trucking because they are doing it at less cost. Now, that's fine if it's all in retail. But again, I don't think you can take money from a completely different business, come in and undercut other people at a money-losing business in order to drive them out of business.
That's essentially what they're doing, Dave Petzo.
It is essentially what they're doing, yes.
Anything else you'd like to share with us? I hate to be predictable.
Do we have time? Do we have time?
For you, Dave Petzo.
it's not just the GDP numbers. We're up 25% since the bottom in the market. And you can still hear the palpable doom and gloom. It's all going to end soon. It's too long in the tooth. All of those economists out there telling people to not invest, that this was a sugar high in the economy because of the tax cuts, are dead wrong and not going to be held accountable. That's just the way it goes. But so many people react to the news, the headlines, and the headlines are always negative. And it drives people out of the greatest wealth-creating vehicle ever known.
I thought
to man.
real estate was.
Not even close.
I thought real estate was. Now, the real estate guys, that's my backup career is real estate. Everybody.
That's your backup?
Not a lot of people are getting into real estate, so why not?
Most people don't have a backup. That's smart of you, Kevin.
Look, I have so many backups. I got my photography business.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, you're good at that.
I got the video business.
You're passionate about your photography.
Yeah, I never do anything with it, but that's why it's the backup.
That's right.
And now the real estate business.
Yeah.
Finally, what do you make of the growth going on? It's just crazy. This new article saying Meridian is going to be 150,000 by 2040.
Yep.
I think it'll be 150,000 before that.
It probably will be, Kevin. There's room to grow in Meridian, and
less taxes, I hear.
And yes, I do too. I know there are, and so it is. It's a boom area, and it's right at the heart. Right, you remember how they always move the center of where the population base is? It's moving. Is out past Eagle Road now. That's where the population's moving. Is out to Europe, out to the hinterlands. So,
indeed.
Yeah, it's a big boom. It's not going to stop, Kevin. This city is on fire, and it is. This area is on fire, and people have discovered it. You can do work from anywhere. You don't need to be in Silicon Valley.
A quick 30 seconds. Dick Lugar, dying over the weekend, senator from Indiana, ran for president in 1996 with something called, even before Steve Forbes came out with it, the flat tax.
Yeah, I know. It's sad. The spokesman for this, and they're so right. They're so right on every level that some kind of fair flat tax, you can exclude infinite amounts of income, whatever you decide, and have a flatter tax creates a much better economic system than one where we try to hide money. We try to figure out how to get certain tax deductions. It doesn't go to the most productive things in the economy. It slows it down when we use tax code to be social engineers.
Dave Patso, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
Kevin, I appreciate you. Thanks for doing what you do every day. We appreciate it.
It was a jolly Kevin Miller this morning.
It is. I love this Kevin Miller. This is good Kevin Miller. You hang on to that, Kevin Miller, okay?
Thank you, sir. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And for those of you that participated in the raising money for the Vietnam Veterans Home over the weekend, saw many of the folks out driving around in the Treasure Valley on their bikes. Idaho, one of the most friendly and, of course, welcoming states when it comes to veterans affairs, when it comes to making a difference. Thank you for doing that. I know sometimes it could be a pain, but certainly the awareness for our veterans and everything else is so appreciated. Joining us now from Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio, Eben Brown, to talk about the NRA convention. Eben, good morning.
Good morning.
So the NRA convention, it's, do we say it's always full of fireworks, blah, blah, blah? I mean, look, it's your segment. Please let us know what happened.
Well, the NRA actually had, I guess you could say, some fireworks over the weekend, and really the revelation and an admission to its general membership that there's some problems going on at the NRA, and this could rise to the level of scandal. Actually, there have been some public understanding that there has been inquiries into NRA's fiscal management, and even some problems regarding some vendors that NRA has used throughout the years as the NRA tries to get its financial house in order. One of them is Ackerman McQueen, its long-standing PR firm. They've used Ackerman for decades as a PR firm, and they're the ones that crafted the whole "you'll pry the gun from my cold dead hand" speech from Charlton Heston back in the day. And they're also the operators of NRA TV. There is some complaint from some of the NRA people that Ackerman has been charging way too much and now won't account for their billing. And so NRA is suing Ackerman over that. But NRA's president for the past year, and the NRA presidency is kind of like a ceremonial figurehead volunteer type job, and it's been Oliver North for the past year. But the president of NRA, in this case Oliver North, has also been an employee of Ackerman, but for hosting programs on NRA TV. And so there's a bit of a conflict of interest, but the chief executive of the NRA, a man by the name of Wayne LaPierre, is the one behind the lawsuit. And so all of a sudden, after the suit is filed, LaPierre says that Oliver North came to him and said, if you don't resign, I'm going to release damaging information on you. So there seems to be this back and forth as to who's doing all the bad stuff, whether it's Ackerman or whether it's the NRA. But this is all happening in the midst of a major investigation by the state of New York. The NRA is actually chartered within the state of New York and is chartered as a nonprofit. And so the state of New York is looking into its finances, and this is at a time where NRA is facing some heightened scrutiny because of political pressure from the gun control advocates and their allies elected to state governments.
Eben Brown joining us, Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Of course, I believe the president was there, perhaps the vice president as well, and he's always has a captive crowd with the NRA folks or with anybody, really.
Well, he certainly does, and the president gave a nice campaign-style speech, while he was there to really rile up the crowd. But this morning, the president tweets that the NRA is under siege by the state of New York, both the attorney general in that state and the governor, claiming that they're illegally using the state's legal apparatus to take them down. So the NRA is engaged in a big fight for its existence. What I can tell you is that many of the members who I've spoken to, people who are just general members, have said, look, we get a lot of requests for fundraising, and we're curious about where our money is going. You know, we get enough emails from the NRA asking for money like it's coming from a campaign committee for a candidate. And we've often given, we pay our dues, we pay other donations, but, I'm going to assume that if there really are credible allegations of fiscal mismanagement, that members could lose their trust.
You go back to that. It's hard to believe when you say the words that the NRA, which is so powerful, is under siege. It's that serious.
Well, look, if there is fiscal mismanagement and its critics in state-level governments want to use that to pounce, they will do that. Just remember, Al Capone was never found guilty for violent crimes or anything, or racketeering. He was found guilty on this tax evasion and other fiscal crimes. And that's something that is used often by prosecutors, and for good reason, to go after people they don't necessarily like. And sometimes it's true criminals like Al Capone, or sometimes it's political foes like the NRA. If the NRA has a serious case of mismanagement on its hands, then that is going to be used by its adversaries to call for the NRA to be sanctioned, or maybe even worse. So the NRA really has to worry about that. They really do.
Boy, it's almost like an episode of Billions in real life.
It's an episode of something, yeah.
Eben, thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, Eben Brown joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Of course, continuing our coverage on the synagogue shooting in California.
In the mirror, and you understand that the rhetoric, the words he uses in all of this, inflame this big part of what's going on in America, give permission to the most craziest people in America. Not that the president's responsible, but his rhetoric adds to that, and he needs to reflect on that, because the days now that we're having these shootings, not only in public places and in concerts and in places where parties are, we're having them in synagogues, in mosques, and Christian churches. He occurred at a synagogue, and yes, this person individually was anti-Semitic, but he also was a person that hated immigrants. And what happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue, well, the guy was driven by what the Tree of Life Synagogue was doing to help refugees and immigrants. And when you relate those two things, somebody that's anti-immigrant in California, the anti-immigrant hate and refugee that's going on in the country, what happened?
There we have it. Matthew Dowd from ABC blaming President Trump for the tragedy, the shooting at the synagogue in California. Of course, you notice with these people, they never say illegal immigrants. They lump everybody in the same. If I were coming here to the country and I were in here legally, I would be insulted every time the media calls the immigrants and not the illegals. Now, you're either illegal or you're here legally. And there's a big difference. So because somebody is pro-American, by the way, they call that being a nationalist. Of course, that's wrong as well. That's a wrong term. You ever notice that the liberals continue to try and limit our vocabulary? When we're talking about the issue about expression and everything else, it's crazy. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
We are looking at the possibility, strongly looking at, to be honest with you. California, the governor wants to have a lot of people coming in, refugees coming in, a lot of sanctuary cities, so we'll give them to the sanctuary cities maybe to take care of if that's the way they want it, because we can only hold them under the current law for 20 days.
So is that outrageous?
We could fix that in so fast if the Democrats would agree. But if they don't agree, we might as well do what they always say they want. We'll bring the illegal, really you call them the illegals. I call them the illegals. They came across the border illegally. We'll bring them to sanctuary city areas and let that particular area take care of it.
So there you have the president. Those weren't comments inciting violence or anything else. Those comments were talking about keeping America safe, right? Keeping America safe. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with keeping America safe? By the way, looking over a few things, apparently the business leaders are a little upset with the legislature. We're upset with the legislature. We're disappointed. We're disappointed that we didn't get the repeal of the state grocery tax, but from one of the papers here, and the reason why I'm just going to call them the papers, look, we're like President Trump here. We can do a lot of things, and they never mention us, so we're not going to mention them. We'll just say the papers. Quoting our friend Bill Connors, President and CEO of the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce, saying this was a difficult session for us and the broader business community. They're a little disappointed that the bill requiring a vote of the people before urban renewal money could be spent on certain projects passed. By the way, big ups to House Majority Leader Mike Moyle for doing that. When he's not farming, when he's not hanging out, he is working the system. There is no one that knows the intricacies of legislation and how to get it passed. In other words, how to make the sausage than State Representative Moyle of Star. He got this through. People say it's anti-Boise. No, I think it's pro-people. Look, we're a republic. We don't vote on everything. But if you're in the city of Boise, if you're paying taxes upon taxes upon taxes for peccadillo pet projects of politicians, shouldn't you have the right, the ability to say, no, I want to vote on that. I want to vote on a tax increase for a stadium that's going to benefit an out-of-state business owner. I'd like to vote on a new library when the old one could be refurbished that many people see as our de facto homeless shelter during the day. Nothing against the library. Librarians are great. It's a great source of information, but you go into that library and there are many people, God bless them, best to them, that are down on their luck, that look at that as like the mall to hang out in. So here we go. People are saying, well, Twin Falls has this, this, and this. You have Sean Beringer, president and CEO of the Twin Falls Chamber of Commerce, saying, I was disappointed in the passage of the urban renewal bill that continues to chip away at the valuable tool for local communities to spur economic development and improve blighted areas. However, and then they go, hey, we used urban renewal to bring in Chobani and Cliff Bar and everything else. And that's great. Wonderful for Twin Falls. We're not about Twin Falls. We're about the Treasure Valley. However, shouldn't you have the right to vote on it? Now, developers say that's the only tool that we have. Well, we have great business leaders. We have Micron when the CEO isn't living in California. We have Simplot. We have some of the best, most secretive group of individuals that are brainiacs in the entire country. Why can't somebody come up and say, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's come up with a different system. How about this? Maybe we're looking for, I don't know. Maybe we're looking for someone somewhere in the legislature that can come up with a different process for local municipalities to help fund urban renewal. By the way, urban renewal is used to build like apartments and stuff, right? Where's the corresponding money for the roads, the infrastructure, the schools to pay for all the people moving in. Shouldn't there be like a quid and a pro and a quo? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So going back to this, now you have people that are disappointed in the legislative session. Oh, Kevin Miller, can't we just move on? Well, you got the hemp farmers. They're mad, but they believe that progress has been made, and they're very excited about the possibility of legalizing hemp. Big money crop, of course. Everything appears to be big money until, well, you plant the crops and everything else. What was it, $90? What is it, $90,000, $50,000 an acre? Now it's going to be $20,000 because the more states legalize hemp, what happens next? Well, then the demand is extinguished because you have a greater supply, so the price goes down. Maybe we missed out on it. It's funny, the state of Washington is itself arguing and going back and forth with whether or not to legalize hemp, and they have the same argument that we do. And they're going, well, you know, it's going to be good for us. We're going to make a lot of money. It's going to be good for the farmers. It's almost if it's a national template on how you can get hemp introduced into your state. And of course, as we have said again and again and again, once you do that, smooths the pathway for other drugs becoming legal. Thank goodness we're not the state of Oregon. Thank goodness we're not the state of Oregon. Think about Oregon and what they're going through. Legalized mushrooms, legalized weed, legalized, suicide. I don't know what they're doing in Oregon. Nice coast, but that's just about it. So here we have it. Russ Hendricks, Director of Government Affairs for the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation, based in Pocatello, was looking at the bright side. His organization supports legalizing industrial hemp as a crop. Although no bills actually made it across the finish line this session, it is clear that there is a strong support among legislators for allowing Idaho farmers to begin growing industrial hemp just like 48 other states. Over the past 20 years, no hemp bill has ever made it through either chamber. This year, the House and Senate each passed two separate bills, though their chamber with strong bipartisan support. Once the USDA finalizes their rules this fall, we believe that Idaho will be ready to move forward with a program allowing farmers to plant hemp next spring. Well, so be it. But we've missed the boat. Is it really that necessary? Now, you know my opinion. I'd love yours. Join the conversation now at 580-5436, 5AIDO, before we get to Fox News and all sorts of wonderful information we'll get from them. But think about this. We haven't heard from a lot of farmers. We've heard from a lot of people that say they represent the farmers. How long does it take to grow the hemp? Now, we've heard from Lars Larson that when you start growing the marijuana, it sucks up all the water. Well, we've got plenty of water right now. It's the flood season. Yeah, until we have a drought. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And again, according to this article, road funding needs to be a major focus in next year's legislative session, according to business leaders. Really? Tell that to the folks now stuck in traffic. That used to be the exception, but now is the rule. You know, today's exceptions are tomorrow's rules when it comes to, well, what we're going to do. Now, people are talking about here in Ada County, ACHD, and what needs to be done at ACHD, and who really has the money. However, now ACHD is doing something with shopping. I don't really know if that is appropriate. I'd rather have ACHD focusing on the roads. And somebody, is it asking too much for leadership? Maybe you're at work. Maybe you're heading up an event for your church. And they ask for volunteers. And all of a sudden you get on the party planning committee, but this is much bigger. This is actually something that will make a difference. It could make the company a lot more money. It could bring in major fundraising for a kids program at your church. It could make a difference. And you're in charge of that. And you accept the responsibility of that. And you work very hard and you do the research. Now, for me, I'm a simpleton. I walk around with a shirt that has food stains on it. I self-report that all the time. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. But there has to be someone besides you thinking there's got to be a better way to deal with the roads. There's got to be a better way to deal with the congestion. And I'm not just talking about West Ada County or Canyon County or in the city of Boise. It's just crazy. And maybe that's the frustration that business people have when they get into politics. Business people are used to making decisions and being held accountable. And sometimes, even if you do the very right thing in business, it doesn't go your way. It's not fair. And many business people have gotten into politics saying that they're going to bring that same level of expertise to politics, to governance. It doesn't happen. It should. We'll address that coming up. Thank you for waking up on the right side. Really appreciate it. Kevin Miller on your talk station, KIDO Talk Radio, Fox News, next.